In the top stories, government improving occupational safety and health culture in St. Kitts and Nevis. Cryptocurrencies gain ground in Cuba, and Modi warns of heat danger as landfill fires rage in India. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Thursday, the 28th of April, 2022. I'm Jason Davis. Nationally, today St. Kitts and Nevis joins in the 2022 global observance of World Day for Safety and Health at Work. The annual observance promotes the reduction and elimination of accidents and diseases in occupational environments. Acting head of the Occupational Safety and Health Environment Unit at the Department of Labor, Junique Eddy, said the government is working to enhance the culture so that employers, employees, and clients can function in an improved environment. On Wednesday's edition of Working for You, Mr. Eddy said that creating such a culture can be achieved through a system of, quote, defined rights, responsibilities, and duties, end quote, that accords to the principle of preventing workplace injury and diseases as a priority. Greater compliance with OSH regulations, integration of OSH management systems into the business management structures, and ensuring occupational safety and health are considered core values of the enterprise were also mentioned. Mr. Eddy said the COVID-19 pandemic provided an opportunity to improve OSH practices in the workplace. Positive changes are expected as officials continue to enhance work environments across the Federation. As preparations are being made for the state funeral of the late Ambassador Vance Amory on Saturday, officials from the nation's security forces explained the procedures involved to conduct state, military, and police funerals. During ZIZ Radio's program Policing with You on Thursday, Warrant Officer Class 1 Sinclair Williams explained that a state funeral is planned and coordinated by the military on behalf of the government and is bestowed upon prime ministers, a sitting or former governor general, high government officials, and civilians who have rendered distinguished service to the nation. He added that military funerals are conducted by the military for active service personnel who have died. Inspector Sean Edwards said that police funerals are planned and coordinated by the police and are held for police officers who have died in service and for retired police commissioners. Sergeant Major Williams also explained the roles of each military personnel during a state funeral, including headdress bearers.
The bearers in a state funeral consists of, in this instance with Farmer's Excellency, we have four commissioned officers from the St. Kitts Defence Force. And we have commissioned officers.
Commissioned.
Yes. Those are persons who people see will take on the shoulder what they would call a pick.
For high ranking officers.
Yes. Similar to the gazetted.
Yes. Something up here on the shoulder.
Something up here.
That's how people persons told me locally. That's what they told me. But you find now the other four persons will be gathered officers from the Royal Security Police Force.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now the bearer party will be under the command of a senior commissioned officer. Mm-hmm. So you find you have, let's say, 4 inspectors. Let's say you have 4 lieutenants who have 2 pips.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then you find the person who's commanding or in charge, local term,
of that little group.
Yes, would be a captain.
Mm-hmm. Somebody who is
higher, correct.
Yes.
And you have 2 persons who actually what they call hat orderlies. Yeah, basically who will actually carry the headdress them.
The cap bearers.
He added that state funerals take a lot of planning and rehearsals for officers to seamlessly execute their duties. After a 2-year hiatus, the Department of Youth Empowerment will host its 37th annual summer residential camp at the Beach Allen Primary School in July. The camp runs from July 17 to 24 and is open to persons between the ages of 8 and 16. Registration is now open for the event at a cost of $50, which will be held under the theme, Your Image is Your Brand, so let's create good impressions. Summer Camp 37, full of hope and positive expressions. Registration can be done at the Department of Youth Empowerment, top floor of the Cable Building in Basse-Terre on or before the 1st of July. Interested persons can call 467-1393 for more information. Moving now to news on the regional scene, the Cuban Central Bank issued regulations for virtual asset service providers after giving a nod last year to the personal use of cryptocurrencies, a move some experts say could help the communist-run Caribbean island skirt stiff U.S. sanctions. Here's more.
Cuba's central bank is set to grant licenses to some providers of cryptocurrency services, a move that could help the communist-run nation evade U.S. sanctions. A decades-old U.S. trade embargo cuts Cubans off from conventional international payment systems and financial markets. Cryptocurrencies, which are decentralized and allow for anonymous and more efficient financial operations, are increasingly seen as a way to overcome those obstacles. Cuba approved them for personal use last year, and new regulations were set to come in on Tuesday. But just how they will factor into the Caribbean island's future is hard to say, as former Cuban central bank economist Pavel Vidal explains.
What we have up to now is a new legal framework that is more friendly for the use of crypto assets in Cuba. But we don't know exactly who is going to use this new legal framework, what kind of services these new actors are going to be offering, and who is going to be the recipients of these operations.
Some of Cuba's Latin American neighbors have also adopted cryptocurrency in their economies. Last year, El Salvador became the first country to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender, but Vidal was skeptical that Cuba would follow suit.
I don't think that Cuba is moving to a monetary system that is going to base only in cryptocurrencies. I think they are going to use it as an alternative, but only for international operations.
On Tuesday, the bank said it would consider legality, socioeconomic interest, and project characteristics before granting a license. Those licenses will initially be valid for 1 year.
A legal dispute between pensioners and the government of Grenada has come to a close, with the government being instructed to pay the pensioners. According to Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell, the ruling could cripple the health of the economy. In a national address on Tuesday night, GBN News has more.
During his national address on Tuesday night, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell reiterated that government has taken the decision to not appeal the recent pension ruling, despite strong legal advice that there are good enough grounds for an appeal. However, the Prime Minister added that not appealing the judgment means that government will have to pay out millions of dollars to public servants, which, if not managed strategically, can completely derail the country's economy.
Regarding the issue of payment of state pensions, unless we manage the process well and set out a viable roadmap under which the state could meet its obligations, it can completely derail the economy.
Dr. Mitchell provided preliminary figures of what the payout would cost government.
While the fiscal obligations of the court ruling are still being tabulated, preliminary indication are that we will have to find at least $465 million. And then on average, we'd have to find $120 more million each year for at least the next 37 years.
Prime Minister Mitchell says government has also set up a broad-based advisory committee that will provide further technical advice and other general guidance on the issue.
They will use their expertise and experiences in studying the entire issue and the decision that the government has made. It includes also economist Dr. Carrie Grenade and Dr. Patrick Antoine, and a former Chief Justice of the Caribbean Court of Justice, Sir Dennis Byron. There will also be a fifth representative coming from the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. The governor will inform us.
The advisory committee held its first meeting on Tuesday morning. The committee is expected to make specific recommendations to government within 3 months. Reporting for GBN News, Beverly Tellisford.
Internationally, Russia is suspending gas deliveries to Poland and Bulgaria. The decision has escalated tensions with the West while also highlighting Europe's dependence on Russian imports. But many governments say the war in Ukraine had already pushed them to look for alternatives. Al Jazeera's Nadim Baba reports.
It had been predicted by some, feared by many more. But European leaders see Russia's move to halt gas supplies to Poland and Bulgaria because they won't pay in rubles as aggressive.
It comes as no surprise that the Kremlin uses fossil fuels to try to blackmail us. This is something the European Commission has been preparing for in close coordination and solidarity with member states and international partners. Our response will be immediate, united and coordinated.
Moscow says countries can still pay for gas imports in euros or dollars, but only if they open Russian bank accounts, which then convert the currency and make the final payment. It's thought some countries have already done so. But Bulgaria, which gets the vast majority of its gas supplies from Gazprom, is not one of them.
We will not succumb to such a racket. Bulgaria is reviewing all agreements with Gazprom, including the agreement on gas transit through Bulgaria, because one-sided blackmail is not acceptable.
The Polish president has promised to take legal action, but the Prime Minister is insisting there's no immediate threat, saying storage facilities are three-quarters full, higher than in most of Europe.
As I've emphasised many times, Poland had previously prepared to diversify supplies and obtain gas from various sources. Even before the Baltic gas pipeline is launched, we'll be able to protect our economy, to protect Polish households from such a dramatic step by Russia.
Some Warsaw residents, if not all, seem reassured. This man says shutting down gas supplies might end up harming Russia. He says his country has reserves. While this woman wonders how much Poles like her will have to pay for developments linked to the Ukraine war, saying things are already incredibly expensive. The EU's biggest economy, Germany, has been the most reluctant to end gas imports from Russia, but on Wednesday it said it was speeding up efforts to find alternatives, including liquefied natural gas.
I can say that our Russian gas dependency, which was at 55% before the war and dropped to 40% a few weeks ago, is now at 35%.
So for now, the common message is there's no need to panic. But it's hard to say how Russia's move will play into the existing energy price crisis across Europe. Nadim Baba, Al Jazeera.
And now for the weather. Current conditions are fair skies with a slight haze. The temperature is 28 degrees Celsius or 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds are a moderate breeze of 15 miles per hour from the northeast. Seas are moderate with waves of 6 feet. A high surf advisory is in effect. The weather forecast for today says it will be partly cloudy with a 20% chance of showers increasing in the afternoon. Tonight will be mostly cloudy with a 60% or moderate chance of overnight showers. Sunset today will be at 6:30 p.m., sunrise tomorrow at 5:47 a.m. And a final program note, ZIZ will be providing live coverage of the state funeral of the late Ambassador Vance Amory on Saturday at 12:30 p.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Jason Davis.